The new year is the year of Po Jun playing finger guessing games. This whole year is a year for you to pursue your dreams. But what's the main theme this year? Oh, as I mentioned in the video, the main theme this year is self-discipline. Because this year, with Lian Zhen transforming into Lu, it's more about self-discipline and restraint. Lian Zhen transforming into Lu truly brings a new medicine of constraint. Because during the period of Lian Zhen transforming into Lu, it's all about seeking restraint. Lian Zhen transforming into Lu means that things are expected to be accomplished in a very safe environment. However, many times, but when it comes to relationships, it's not like that. Relationships often require courage, often need one or both people to bravely take that step forward. In reality, many people, when it comes to emotions, tend to be in what kind of state? They tend to be in a state of ambiguity. When do people find themselves in an ambiguous state? It's when I secretly like you, but I don't know if you like me. At the same time, I don't want to disrupt the relationship we have now, but in reality, I really like you. So I tend to treat you a little better, and I notice that you seem to treat me pretty well too. I feel like we want to keep this going, right? This kind of back and forth between us, this ambiguous relationship, is actually very, very captivating when it comes to emotions. However, if this ambiguous phase drags on for too long, say half a year or even a year, then it becomes more than just captivating. It starts to torment people because in this mutual ambiguity, I have no idea what you really want. I have no idea whether you actually love me or not. And I have no idea whether we can keep going or not. That's why people say relationships require courage. At first, it's fine to be ambiguous, but then I need the courage to take your hand. If we just keep things ambiguous like this, the other person might end up feeling miserable too, right? Ambiguity saves the day. There's even a song that goes like that, isn't there? Ambiguity always leaves people feeling wronged. So, editor, please cue that song here. Today, let's talk about what kind of people are likely to let themselves fall into this ambiguous state. Think about it. Who would do something like this? First, people with a strong sense of pride, right? They're really afraid that if they confess, or if they say something, or if they try to hold the other person's hand, they might just get slapped in the face. Among people with a strong sense of pride, which type within the category of autonomy has particularly strong self-esteem? Think about Zi Wei, of course, because she basically embodies self-esteem, right? So it's the Zi Wei type. What comes next? Next is the sun in the solar system, because everything has to follow its rules. Everything must be based on its rules. The good thing is when it encounters adversity, it becomes very driven and decisive. For example, if I like this woman, I'll bravely take her hand. But what if it's not? If it's not, then the sun will start to wonder, if I take the initiative, will it affect my status and end up being bad for me? At times like this, actually, a sun in a weaker position is better because a sun in a weaker position doesn't have this problem. He doesn't care so much about saving face or about how others see him. What else? There's also that inner emptiness, loneliness and coldness, as well as a strong sense of inferiority. These are all things we've talked about before regarding the script heart. The reason the script is so knowledgeable is because he's afraid that if he's too showy, he won't be able to survive in this world. That's why he collects all kinds of knowledge in large quantities. As for the script heart, with this inner emptiness, he's also afraid that others might not like him that much, or that he's just experiencing unrequited love. So it's very easy for him to keep himself in this ambiguous situation. What else about these three stars? There's also the Lian Zhen type we just mentioned. But for Lian Zhen, it has to be aspected, because when Lian Zhen is aspected, it will make a person's behavior and mannerism seem as if. Because Lian Zhen, no matter what, is only a bit more stable when paired with Jianfu. With any other star, when combined, it's always in a state of overwhelming charm. And what about people who are in a state of overwhelming charm? Oh, of course, it's very easy for them to have a lot of these kinds of emotional interactions make him wonder, oh, can I really do this? Is it not right for me to do this? Could this be dangerous? And he's very cautious about it. So when it comes to Lian Zhen's nature, there's really only this one combination, just these few groups. What else is there? There's also Qiantong paired with Jumen, the Qiantong system. But is the Qiantong system with Jumen possible? The Qianlong system is also possible, of course, but it's because of his personality. He feels that if others don't show their feelings, then he won't show his either. So the Qiantong system is possible. But among these, the Qiantong-Jumen combination is the most clear-cut because that one naturally tends to overthink. And when it comes to emotions, it's the most straightforward. Some people might say, what about pride? For example, Qixia. Does Qixia care about saving face? Qixia is stubborn and sticks to his own ideas, but that's not really about saving face. So as for Qixia, of course he wouldn't. And as for Po Jun, there's even less to say, right? That's not even worth mentioning. What about Tai Yin? Would Tai Yin, or if Tai Yang would, then would Tai Yin? It might also depend on who it's paired with. When it's together with Tianji or when it's with Taiyang, it might also want to play the role of Taiyang sometimes. And sometimes when Tianji is transforming into the Ji phase, or when Taiyang is in the Ji phase, it will have a lot of its own thoughts and ideas and will feel at ease internally. So with these combinations of star groups, whether in the life palace or the spouse palace, it's very likely that we might find ourselves getting involved in ambiguous relationships. However, we don't dare to express our feelings openly. Of course, in this episode, we're talking about that. We're not talking about the kind of ambiguous relationships where you're flirting with everyone or being a warm-hearted guy who's like a central heating system warming everyone around. That's not what we're discussing here. What we're talking about is when there are feelings between two people, but neither dares to express them. I secretly like you, and it seems like you secretly like me too. After a long time, you start to feel conflicted inside. There are all sorts of emotions weighing on you, all kinds of uneasiness and anxiety. So basically, the main focus is on the primary star in the life palace and the hidden palace. Of course, as we've mentioned before, all emotional aspects in a person's chart aren't just black and white or 0 and 100. It's a gradual process, building up from 0 to 100. So, while the main star indicates this kind of trait, it doesn't mean it will always manifest this way or that it will always be very serious. Being frequently hurt, well, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to add something like the Wenk star or the Tuo Luo star for it to become that serious, where you overthink and don't know what to do. The Wen Shui star, for example, brings all sorts of worries and overthinking. He doesn't know what to do, and if you add these elements, then the situation will become a bit more serious. So, if this is your natal chart, you're likely to find yourself caught up in such emotional situations. If your luck cycle is like this, then during that period, you'll experience these kinds of situations. Or for example, when you meet someone and your spouse palace or life palace is combined in this way, you're also prone to getting yourself into such situations. And finally, what else is there? Juxi and Ruang Xixin, these two stars are placed in your life palace, not in the spouse palace. If Ruang Xixin is in the life palace, it means I want to fall in love. If it's in the spouse palace or the audience palace, it means I have the opportunity to meet someone I want to fall in love with in terms of emotions. Of course, I also want to fall in love, but whether I have the opportunity depends on whether my friends want to fall in love too. However, if my Ruang Xixin is placed in the life palace and the travel palace, but not in the spouse palace, then it's more of a personal matter for me. Of course, this also depends on the luck cycle. All romantic relationships happen because of the luck cycle. Never foolishly look only at your natal chart. Using the natal chart spouse palace to discuss relationships is a mistaken idea. What's this about the natal spouse palace? Are you talking about your enemy's wife? That's just laughable, isn't it? So, what if I end up marrying 8 husbands? Which palace should I visit? Should I go back? That's a wrong idea. The spouse palace only shows your relationship values. Actual romance or ambiguity is just a phenomenon. That's why you need to check the luck cycle chart. So when this happens in my luck cycle, for example, if I have Ruan Qichin in my life palace, but my life chart doesn't have Hua Fu or Hua Guan, that means my personality itself doesn't have traits that easily attract the opposite sex, and my attitude toward relationships also doesn't particularly attract others. But if I still want to fall in love, isn't it easy for me to fall into this kind of ambiguous relationship? Then I might have a secret crush and I don't dare to express it. So all of these combinations are possible. It's easy for us to get caught up in ambiguous relationships, not knowing how to express ourselves, and both sides end up guessing what the other is thinking. So how do we solve this problem? As I just mentioned, love requires action, so it's important to have Kuongyang, Hoshang, or Lingshang in the life palace or the spouse palace. As for Tuolo, it tends to keep hesitating there. So with Kuongyang, once I decide to love you, I'll tell you directly. With Hoshang, there's no need to even make a decision. It just acts. If I love you, I'll just ignite the fire directly. As for Lingxing, at the very least, they'll let you know, I love you, I like you. They'll try to find out whether you like them too. You might ask, teacher, what if I have this situation in my fortune cycle, but I haven't reached the right timing yet? What should I do? Then you need to look at yourself, whether it's Liu Yue or Liu Ning. If this situation appears in your major fortune cycle, you should check the annual fortune. If it appears in your annual fortune, then check the monthly fortune. During that particular month or year, when your life palace or your spouse palace shows a sign of Sha Xing, killing star, that's the time to confess your feelings. When Sha Xing appears, that's when you should make a decision. That way you can break through this kind of situation. But the points I mentioned above don't guarantee that you'll succeed just because you try to break through, because after all, I don't know if your chart is correct, nor do I know theirs. However, I must tell everyone that love requires courage, so muster up your courage. Now, if you fail, at the very least, He won't feel like, why do you keep bringing me breakfast when I clearly don't like you? He might find it bothersome, right? If you fail, then just move on to the next one quickly. Yeah, don't waste your time on him, right? Youth is beautiful and time is fleeting. Hurry up and look for someone who can have a wonderful relationship with you. Love requires courage. If we have courage, then we don't need to have secret crushes or ambiguous relationships. Thank you, everyone.